Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Vicky speaking to you from the Seeds of Transformation. And I am here with Ona from Ona's Tarot. And you're the customer service rep?
Yes. So you're energy customer service rep from Chicago.
From Chicago. And so tonight we were going to do a live, and we were convinced we knew what we were doing. We had no idea. So this is what is happening. We're going to be doing a video and talking about some of the things we were going to talk about live. Unfortunately, we can't have the audience interaction, but
Well,
we are planning on doing lives and starting a podcast called the Mystic Sisters. And so my idea is to, you know, however often we can schedule it, to do a podcast together and to have guests, to have some of our other mystic sisters come on and talk about their journeys in the mystical world, uh, as it were, and how we got here, and and the like. So we are going to definitely do lives so we can interact with you guys. We'll probably do it on a separate channel, from my channel or from Ona's channel. So I will let you know on my channel, and Ona will let you know on her channel when it's up and you can subscribe. All right, I think. I don't know if that's how it works, Ona. Do I know what I'm talking about? I don't really
you
think I
know
do.
what? I tried to Google YouTube live with somebody and I couldn't figure it out. I did it over and over and I can't. I don't know how. So if somebody in the comment section wants to,
Yeah, give us a little tutorial or point us in the right direction.
yeah, some of these things, the technical stuff, that's what's hard about doing channels sometimes is there's technical, there's monetization, giving out information. That's going to mean it's a mini business, and
Right.
you know, there's a lot of things. And I think Vicky will agree that this is a channel we want to put out like really good content, solid
Yes.
content.
Yeah, some meaningful stuff. We're in a period of great change. And, just like you, we've had to navigate some pretty rocky, difficult waters. Since I've known Ona, she lost her mother after taking care of her for years. I lost my mother after taking care of her for years. We have our stories, as it were. Um, but it's been tough. It's been tough on everybody. And I think that there are signposts, and the earth is speaking to us. We're going to talk a little bit tonight about cicadas, uh, even though you're like, ew, cicadas. They are big and they are noisy, but there's a lot of symbolism to them. They're used as medicine in Chinese medicine, and it's very significant that there's so much noise at a time when Jupiter has moved into
Into Gemini.
Gemini.
The noise is deafening. The noise is deafening. I was visiting a friend, and I don't even know how to tag that in the end. There'll be more, I guess. It was the noise from the cicadas was so loud, and the little patch of the backyard that they have, that we couldn't talk to each other on a normal tone, a normal volume outside. And they were just everywhere, apparently more concentrated around the fruit trees.
Oh,
They're completely innocuous. They won't bite you. They won't sting you. Nobody's ever come in with cicada related emergencies. So they're just big, and they have big red eyes. And they've got broods that merged this year. And it was funny that yesterday I'm like, wow, I got to experience that. It's something you would never forget. And then, of course, it's in that Jupiter season in Gemini, right? And we're trying to communicate, and they're trying to communicate, and
everybody's trying to communicate.
bigger and bigger. And it feels like no matter what I eat right now, everything tastes like sand and like ground glass. It was I don't know how those folks are tolerating it, but it is textbook auditory harassment.
Yeah. Yeah, which is kind of what I think we're all on some level being exposed to, whether, wherever you live. But just, it's funny because since my mother passed, if the television is on in the house, which I don't watch a whole lot of television, Michael likes to watch his cooking shows, which is really good because then I get some delicious meals out of it.
Yeah.
But it's quiet. It's like the house is quiet. Sometimes there's no sound at all. And when you have somebody elderly living in your house, they can't hear the television. So the television's really loud, everything's really loud. And a lot of people live with other people, and there's always like this background noise. And so in my case, it's really quiet, but there's still a lot of noise. We live pretty close to the highway. We're on Main Street. Everything's close to the house. And there's always sirens going by because there's no lights on my road. So the cops don't want to go where they have to stop. So they come down my street. So it is noisy, but I think the cicadas, like just the intensity, and they did sound like, to me, they sounded like little car alarms going really, really fast. Like that, and I don't know if I talked about it this morning in my video in the garden that uh what's his name? The actor, taxi driver, Robert De Niro. I'll
Yeah.
get there. It just you just went through a connection in my head. Robert De Niro did a speech outside of the courthouse, and the Fernone was there, and the big guy who somebody just told me what his name was. I'd have to look. I can't pull it out of my head, unfortunately. Um, it I and he got in an argument with somebody in the thing, but there were like alarms going off. There was like, it was like the whole time he was talking. And it was like you had to really listen for him because it was so loud. And I lived right across the river from New York City. I had my best friend lived in Brooklyn. So I have a lot of experience, and I lived in Jersey City with noisy cities, and it's just so much like that there. And it was just so uh so like the energy of the time. It's like you want to be heard, but there's all this like noise, and it's irritating, and it's like
It's so
so
Jupiter and Gemini.
and oh my God, I
Because
know.
Gemini
And
rules the ears too, right? Or Jupiter rules the ears. Which one?
well,
I can't remember. I have to look.
Gemini rules the nervous system, right? Well, yeah, through Mercury. Mercury is connected to the nervous system, right?
Yeah.
So anytime there's a Mercury, now Jupiter, like this week coming up, Jupiter is already in Gemini, but it's going to trine Pluto, and it's going to conjunct Mercury. So we have Jupiter in Gemini conjunct Mercury in Gemini. It's just
Alarming. It's alarming. It's gonna be like, nah.
right. So and we can expect we're going to have a lot of noise anyway, because somebody put a line across the path of the Gemini, the most insane and popular Gemini of our generation, unfortunately.
Yes,
So it's they're gonna complain, and I
they're
guess
gonna
they already
complain.
are. We talked about, before we got on the call here, we talked about how everything is, it's just the volume is just going to go up, guys. So if you want to spend a lot of time listening to that stuff, which I would suggest you don't, it's just going to get louder and louder and louder. And you don't want to get distracted from your your I think purpose in this whole thing, because we're not just here to watch it. I don't think. I mean, we bear witness to what's happening, but I think that we're
You
here to be
have
our,
to trust yourself, you know how much you can do, and if you can, since it's a time where auditory senses are heightened, to put on some binaural beats, even for 5 minutes, if you're not somebody who meditates at all, or like, I don't have time to meditate, just put headphones on, binaural beats while you're washing dishes or doing vacuuming, even whatever, and that can calm you down.
yeah, even you can get you can go on YouTube with the crystal bowls and
Mhm.
hear the frequencies of those. I would do that often, especially
Time for that.
when my mom was here, because my nervous system was totally fried.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I would have to do that because otherwise I would be non-functional.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So I think communication's a big deal. Now I looked up cicadas, and they actually, in Chinese medicine, they make remedies out of it. It's funny, my girlfriend is a acupuncturist and a chiropractor.
Yeah.
And she told me, she goes, I go, do you give people Chinese herbs? She's like, "Ugh, they make their potions out of bugs. She said, I'm not going to give anybody bugs, which is, I don't know if she did afterwards, but that was when she first started. And I guess it's cicadas because they make medicine out of cicadas.
Yep.
And pretty much all the symptoms are respiratory.
Yeah.
It's very interesting that we have this combination of, a 17-year cycle and a 13-year cycle, I guess, where they're waking up at the same time. And we were saying that 17 is the star card, which is the card of hope,
Yeah.
and 13 is the death card, which is the card of letting go. And so I think we have to let go of our expectations about what is going to happen,
Mhm.
what needs to happen, what should happen, who should pay, who shouldn't pay, and just have, that sense of hope for things working out as they will, because that 17-8 vibration is an 8, right? So there's
Yeah.
always going to be, if you do something, you pay.
Yeah. This is the
So,
age.
and you can't get invested. I don't think we can get invested in how difficult it is or how much somebody pays. I don't think that's what it's about. I think that we have to take our victories as they come
Yeah.
and realize that it's an energetic shift, that it's not necessarily a win.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah. I think I honestly I've said this over and over again. I really believe that if I had to, I'm coming up on my 10-year cancer anniversary. Should be like my 10-year birthday. It's like my birthday, really.
Right.
And triplets will be 10 on the same day. So I think that I forgot what I was gonna, I was answering the question was, I honestly can't remember.
That's okay. Well, it's interesting. We're looking at these cycles, right? That your 10-year anniversary is a
Mhm.
10, is in one, right?
Yeah,
And was that 2014 then for you?
yep, yep, 2014.
Yeah. That's what I mean. I mean, there's been so much, people have gone through so much um in those years. Those years were the uh, Pluto Uranus square years,
They were, it was also the
2012 to
last time
2015.
it was Jupiter's Gemini time also. Jupiter
Yes.
was in Gemini 12 years ago, 2012.
Yeah.
So that sort of around that window. So yeah, when I remember 2012, I think about, oh, it was like just before I got sick. It was like, it's like COVID, before and after kind of.
Right. Right. And of course, 2012 was supposed to be when the big change happened, and everybody's talking about 2012. But in a way, it is completely different. It, it just takes us longer to get there. We live in a reality that's time based, and it's
Yeah,
dense. And for one of the things that I find myself saying a lot is that it's already happened. It's already done. You're
Yeah,
already who you were supposed to be. You just have to wake up to it. It's like that energy of the judgment card where things get uncovered.
yeah,
Um, and we were also thinking with the podcast we would do, and instead of a recovery, uh,
yes,
minute or whatever, how long it takes us, like a thing about how to get through
right,
past something, instead of it call it recovery, call it uncovery
yes.
or
And
an
actually, if
uncovering.
I remember what I was gonna say about having, when you were saying having expectations
Yes.
about
Okay.
other people, it was, I think the only thing that's ever disappointed me, and that's when I started my cancer journey and going back in my head. The only thing that's ever really disappointed me or I had any regret was that I had expectations instead of just then you're judging. If you
Well, when
expect
you say you
something
had expectations
of
about,
how I thought other people were going to behave.
oh, oh, okay. So did people surprise you?
Not much.
So you weren't wrong.
Not
But
much.
maybe that's part of the problem. Maybe if you have a preconceived notion, the universe is just going to fill it in anyway. So if you think, oh, I have cancer and I know my sister's not going to help me, my brother is going to be a jerk, nobody's going to care, nobody's going to help me, and then nobody helps you because you think that's what's, you know what I'm saying?
Right?
You've
Or
talked
you
about
think
that
everybody's
often.
going to, and nobody does, because
Nobody
your
does.
expectation was, why isn't everybody railing around?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
so you're disappointed. So I don't really have high expectations of how other people are going to behave.
I think that things get filled in. That even if the people that you expect they're going to rally around, my family's going to be there for me, and then they're not.
Mhm.
Somebody's there for you. It's just not your family, and perhaps the expectation is putting a condition on the way you'll accept the help,
Yeah,
and so you're blocking yourself. So I think we need to be open to the help that the universe is offering us.
yeah,
And in a way kind of see like all this crazy Trump stuff as
yeah.
opportunity. I mean, it has really changed and shifted things. And I kind of feel bad for the guy only because he's like, come on, you're 77. Like light, light breaks on marble head. Can you see the light now? Can you like,
I don't think I think he's not going to go out in a blaze of glory like he thought. I think he's just going to fade out of this.
he should have just been satisfied when he became president, been president for 4 years, messed it all up, and then said, "Oh, well, I was the most powerful person in like, isn't that what he wanted?" But I don't know.
But he should have got up there, testified, and said, I lied. I lied.
Yeah,
I lied 34 times. He should have said, I lied 34 times. And now, what would they have done with that?
yeah.
Would they have, call him a felon? Would they, I mean, he threw himself under the bus.
Everything he does, he undoes himself. But he has his Mars in his 12th house, which is the house of self-undoing. Plus, he has Pluto in his astrological chart. He has Pluto in the 10th house. And people with Pluto, not the 10th house, in the 12th house, people with Pluto in the 12th house need to have a spiritual connection. If they don't have that spiritual connection, they feel like they don't exist, that they don't matter. He has his Pluto and Leo generationally. That's when he was born, right? So they come in wanting to be seen, heard, and loved, and he is and his Pluto's in that like mystical, magical, but formless 12th house.
Yeah.
That 12th house can be a very fearful place. There's a lot of like irrationality in that house. You know,
Yeah.
it is
Yeah.
connected with Pisces. Pisces can be that way, you know.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because he's in let me see here. I need a piece of paper to do a little math. He's 614, right? Hold on. That's
Mhm.
20. So he's actually right now before his birthday, he's in a 27-9 vibration, which is the Ace of Wands, which is the Leo energy. And but it is the end of a cycle. He's at the end of a cycle. And on his birthday, he's going to go into a 1. Um, but
Or a onesie.
or a
Ooh.
1Z, well, whatever, you know, he's on a new journey. He's on a new journey of sorts. We'll, you know, you know, I know that we said like back in 2016, there's no way Trump could win. There's no way. And then he ended up winning. However, that happens. I think it was fated to happen. Even if it was a cheat, it was still supposed to happen because we needed to wake up. We needed to wake up real quick. Real quick. And he was able to do that and he got people off the couch and
I
we
agree. Yeah,
what?
I agree. We needed to wake up. And it's a great example on how waking up can be so excruciatingly painful sometimes.
Well, it's
Like,
like this, you know, I would often like describe it this way in my classes. I would say, um, you know, if you're in a deep sleep and the alarm goes off, you like wake up and you're disoriented.
mhm,
But if you're in that half sleep, or if you know that the alarm, like you have an intent, you're like, oh, it's starting to get light in here, the alarm's gonna go off like any minute.
mhm,
And then the alarm goes off and you're like, oh, that freaking alarm. You're
mhm.
not happy, you're in a bad mood because you heard the alarm, but you knew it was happening. So you're not as sleepy.
Yeah.
And so you're irritated, but not like confused.
Mhm.
And then there are those people who woke up before the alarm.
Yeah.
Like your body says, oh, the alarm's going to go off. And so
Yeah.
you get up, you get out of bed, and then you're sitting there next to the bed and you say, oh, the alarm's going to go off, and you wait for it to see, and then you hit it right away, right?
Yeah.
So what level of evolution are people in? And how can we expect these poor people who are like they had people outside of the thing when they heard the verdict, they were crying and screaming and yelling and but they all seem like mentally the ones I saw anyway, maybe you know, they show you who they show you. I'm sure there were not everybody was there was crazy. But and that's the other thing. We have to remember that the media is so powerful in this.
Yeah.
They create the story. They create the story of our lives and um we have to be aware of that. We have to be aware of where we're being influenced. And really, I think that anything outside of us in a way is going to influence us. So I
Yeah.
think that's why it's so very important to do that other part that going into your own space and even meditating or even sometimes like for you, I'm sure it's art. When you
Oh,
get into your
I
art space, don't you like think about stuff and things come into your head and does that
yeah, I'm like a robot when I'm working on stuff. And yeah, and that's when when I could just focus on my hands doing whatever I'm doing. And
And I think that's what we need to
uh,
do in these times is to really focus in on what is going to both feed your soul and, you know, be what you're here to do in a way, right? You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? Like,
yeah. I'm picking that up on the Gen Zers, that is like skipping past millennials, because millennials seems like they split in a couple of different groups, but that they're on a soul journey more than financial or academic, or you know what I mean?
yeah, well, it's the Pluto in Scorpios.
No, Pluto and Sag.
Is that the millennials? Pluto
Yeah.
and Sag?
Oh, Gen Zers.
Gen Zers or Pluto, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
it's I think that's the difference, right?
Yeah.
You have one group of souls who are coming from an emotional place,
Mhm.
the Pluto in Scorpio, and their journey is towards stability. Um, they're oftentimes, I think, those Pluto and Scorpios, anybody born from 83 to 94,
Yeah.
um, these were the like past lives of genocide and Holocaust and these Scorpio, like the like darkest, deepest, cavern of but ultimately, coming up to be reborn. It's a process. It's not just about being at the bottom, but it's about rising to the top because in a way you can push off from the bottom. I think there's a Buddhist thing about lotus flowers can only grow in the mud. Like their roots are deep down in the mud and they have these beautiful flowers, and then they have these long, long stems and the roots are like in the mud. And there's like a whole thing about that. Um, so it's in a way our challenges and the in a way the stuff that I don't want to say ugly stuff because it's not really what I mean, but the stuff that's like a little smelly,
Yeah.
like I'm sure at the bottom of those things where if you like dig it up, it's gonna smell like, right? So
Organic smell. I know.
right,
I
that organic like methane
know.
so like, but that's where the root is in that experience, and the flower it is sort of like at the crown chakra is like the beauty that comes from those most challenging experiences. And I know you've had yours with your cancer diagnosis, and and I'm sure among other things, that's not the only mountain you've had to climb, Miss
Oh,
Capricorn.
oh, yeah, no, definitely. Definitely, but I think a lot of people, in my age category, when it's at Saturn return time, that is when all those life events are expected to occur. The aging and passing of parents, the um, negotiating new boundaries or discontinuing them with partners, changing jobs, finishing jobs, retiring. Like that's that time that all that stuff happens. It just depends on how you deal with it.
Yeah.
So I don't think I went through anything any different than anybody else, honestly. You know, my mom dying, my dog dying, and moved 2 jobs, like within a year.
Yeah, the only thing that was missing was a divorce.
That had
Like
already
like
happened.
that had happened before. Luckily, it didn't have to happen then. Like those big life
Luckily
changes.
enough that happened in 2014. That was when I signed my papers
Hmm.
in 2014. So that was like everything was new. It was really, that was a time.
2014 was really challenging for me as well. I had astrologically, I had Pluto opposing my sun while Uranus was squaring my sun and Neptune was opposing my Mars all at the same time. And it was hard. It was hard. It was hard. I had to yeah, financially it was difficult, emotionally, um, um, things were really I got to the point where I just threw my hands up and said, I don't know what to do here. Because usually I could figure stuff out, but there was no figuring out. Sometimes you just have things that you have to surrender to, and that's what I did. I
Yeah.
just said, I don't know what to do. I threw my hands up and said, it's in your hands. And then my whole world turned around, and everything that I had been trying to do actually started to manifest as soon as I got out of the way.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But that was a challenging time. That whole time, every time we had a square, We had 7 of them. There are 7 chakras. It's like we were going through a spiritual like chakra
Yeah.
experience.
I think that it's happening as now also. I think a lot of people are learning about them, becoming aware of their own, um, learning what it means for them to be activated or not activated, the colors. And I think a lot of that is related to these like Gen Zers that and millennials that have adopted this soft science language of these esoteric things that we've studied for a long time.
Yeah. Well, that's Pluto and Sag.
Becoming,
Sag
it's
is
becoming like very like day language.
this is the Pluto and Sag generation is the generation coming from the indigenous wisdom keepers, the witch doctors or the healers, the shamans
Yeah.
from the indigenous folk. That energy is coming in that generation. And in order for them to evolve, they have to learn how to talk about it so that people can understand what they're saying and not come across as know-it-alls, at this
Mm.
height. You know what I'm saying? So, because like people aren't going to listen if you preach to them. You can't be preached at. You have
Right.
to be spoken to and with. And we do, that's a Gemini thing, but we are going to have Uranus in Gemini for 7 years. So we're going to have that opportunity.
I think there's going to be a whole new kind of internet thing.
I hope we can figure it out.
Well, it's something where it's going to be more secure and something that is because it's really a utility.
Yeah.
It's not an option. Um, where it's going to be, I don't know, it's a different system, a different sort of worldwide
I think
connectivity.
a lot of those things are already kind of set up. A lot
Uh,
of, but I don't know about any of them. See, so that's the problem for me is we need to figure out and everything's changing so quickly. So it's hard to, you can't even really keep up with that stuff.
oh
But
my God.
well, I guess we'll see. I guess we'll see. So, did you want to do some cards?
I do. I pulled the Starseed Oracle deck. I have the Antique Anatomy because I don't know, somebody got hit by a car in front of my house or something. There was an ambulance out there, so I had that deck ready. And yeah, and the Joe Black. Some really great familiars. Some really great familiars. What do you want to ask?
Um, let's ask about the Mystic Sisters podcast that we are announcing that we're doing as soon as we figure it out. Yeah, I like that.
Starseed.
Good one.
I was gonna do, and I might do. Like nobody might. I think about these things. Like nobody would be interested in that. But maybe I'll do a video on the cicadas once they get to the lake here. The earth needs to be about 45 plus degrees, so I haven't had witness to anything right where I live, but yesterday was
How far away were you from where you live?
probably 15 miles.
Wow, that's not far at all.
It's not far. It's close to where I used to work, the greenhouse there but it's an area that's surrounded by forest preserves.
Oh, okay.
Um, it's something. It's something. And it's during the day too. Typically you prepare yourself to hear the night noises, the night grasshoppers and stuff like that, the night insects. And in the morning your body's ready to hear the birds and but cicadas like do that 24 hours a day. La 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 all day long. I can't. We'll see.
So Ona is picking a card for the Mystic Sisters podcast.
Oh, the courageous peony. And what's blooming right now in your yard?
My favorite. My favorite.
Multifaceted, unique nature. Let yourself be seen.
All right, sister. We're gonna be seen.
I was really tempted. I'm like, I know there's a camera, but I was walking with giblets this morning and I really wanted to just pick one. So yeah, I'll just put a picture up. I can't be reaching into people's fences and
No,
stuff.
no.
You know they have cameras.
You'll be viral. The lady who steals the peony in Chicago.
And I didn't have my scissors with me, and you know how you have to like really pull at them. You have to cut them. You can't just like pinch them with your fingernails. They're
Yes.
tough. That's where the it comes from. They're tough.
Yes. And
Tough.
beautiful.
And the one you pointed to today, the one that's been there since before you moved in,
Mhm.
I was thinking, oh my God, the nut on that thing has got to be huge underneath.
Yeah, I don't know.
Big bulbs underneath. And they're very difficult to dig up.
Yeah. We wanted to move them because they're so close to, they don't get a lot of sun, but I will probably just leave them where they are, or maybe
Yeah.
divide them when they're done.
Yeah, you gotta like get a knife in there and crack
Yeah.
like a
Yeah.
coconut.
So I did pick a Mystic Sister Oracle card for this evening, and I think this one is for all of us. So I'll read what it says. It is the Sage Goddess is the card,
Ah, yeah.
right?
Yep.
And it says here, purification and cleansing. The ancient global practice of burning sage is not only for purifying a space or a person, but also to heighten spiritual clarity. I think that's what we all need. The botanical name for sage is salvia, stems from the Latin word salvare, to heal, which is also the origin of the word salvation. Other qualities of sage when burned, such as giving wisdom, clarity, and increased spiritual awareness, are also indicated in the name. Oh, right, sage, right? It's not, and it's no accident that we refer to people as sages. The sage goddess calls you to cleanse your sacred space, to remove both physical and psychic toxins from your atmosphere in order to more clearly envision the transcendental experience of life. She offers the opportunity to clear out the clutter of the mind and heart, cut through the chatter of thought, and find peace, order, and focus.
That's where the chatter and thought. That's a big Gemini theme right there.
Right.
Definitely.
And so, yeah, I mean, clearing the air
Yeah. And
is like a good idea.
your salvia is growing in your garden. Our salvia is already starting to have flower on it. And even if you just like pick off a piece, a leaf, and put in your pocket or, God's purse. And just like the thought of it, and you smell it every once in a while. And that I do that a lot because I'm trying to block other smells. So I always have something, my hand's got peppermint on it or something to.
Yeah, we have a rosemary plant that's right now is sitting on the side steps there. And every time I go past it, I take a grab and a smell. And that's really good for your memory. So if any of you are having memory issues, smell rosemary. Get a little rosemary plant if you don't
Yeah.
have a garden.
If it's
And
time to like go to just past the garden center, right? And go
yeah,
to
you don't even have to buy it. Just
you have to buy it or nothing, just like go to the garden center and just smear it on your head like that. Oh, wow. It's a mid family, and it's directly it affects that sinus
Yeah,
area.
yeah. That's another great herb, rosemary, for
Yeah.
what ails us, as it were. So, we are going to be doing, the next time you see us together is actually going to be the new moon,
Yeah.
right? Moon shadows on my channel. But we are going to, I apologize for not having a live tonight. We couldn't figure it out. I don't know what made me think I could, but somehow I thought I could, but I had no idea what I was doing. So apologies for this not being live. We will get a live show out at least once a month where we can interact with you guys. I think that would be really cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is there
Final
any,
parts for you guys, answer questions for you guys. If there's any questions in the comment section about how,
yes, if you have suggestions for our Mystic Sisters moments, leave them in the comments and we'll try again. So we don't actually know when we're going to do the new moon, do we? The new moon is on the 6th. Let me see if I can look at my calendar and we can tell you as we know. Do you know your schedule?
I'm working Saturday, Sunday. I know.
Okay. Let me see here.
I know.
Oh, okay, okay. I'm looking in the wrong spot. Guess. Just guess me. I'm looking in the wrong spot. Of course I am. Okay.
New moon's at 7:38 a.m. on Thursday.
So Thursday, a Tuesday, no, I'm sorry, I'm in May. Gotta get to the next month here. Tuesday is the 4th. Will you be
Yeah,
up and about?
I'm
Okay.
up and about.
All right. So we're gonna be doing, next time you see us, we're gonna be doing moon shadows on my channel for the new moon
Yeah.
in Gemini. And then probably 2 weeks after that, we'll be doing moonshine on
Okay.
yes. And that's a full moon in Capricorn.
Yeah. I would like to see if there is anything that they're doing on the lake. Because there's things like, full moon dances and stuff like that. I don't know. I'll have to find out.
All right, everyone. Well, this was our apology for not being
Sorry.
alive. Sorry about that. But we are going to be doing this. If, like I said, if you guys have any suggestions, just let us know in the comments section below, or I think you can reach out to us, or I think our emails on the YouTube channel anyway. So you can always email us. Yeah. All right, guys. Thanks a lot for joining us, and have yourself a wonderful evening.
Thank you.
Take care, and don't stress out. Everything's going to be all right.
Yep.
Take care. Namaste.